I'm going to repeat this 3 times so that there's no confusion about my position. Skill-based matchmaking has no place in public matches. Skill-based matchmaking has no place in public matches. Skill-based matchmaking has no place in public matches. Unless you just bought a Call of Duty game and you're level 10, you shouldn't be coddled. Honestly, everybody should be playing with everybody. It should be based off of connection, and matches should have a lot more variety in them. That is my stance on skill-based matchmaking. Here's my other stance. Confirmation bias is a thing. Irrational emotional responses to losses in Call of Duty are also a thing. Seeking the justification for your loss is normal, but it's hard to watch players that have been playing Call of Duty their entire lives, who have gotten better over years and years of practice, hard work, dedication, and overall fandom, be so perplexed by the fact that their success, their public success, pro players, streamers, YouTubers, influencers in the Call of Duty franchise, their success has motivated everybody and their brother and their sister and their grandma to get better at Call of Duty. People want high KDs, people want chopper gunners, people want to win games. You're lying to yourself if you don't think these YouTubers, streamers, and content creators haven't influenced the community this way, haven't transformed it into what it is today. Gaming in general is more competitive, at least when it comes to competitive games, but even single-player games have this notion online of getting good and getting better, and getting clips and posting them online. The difference between a casual gamer and a hardcore gamer is very, very stark at the moment. And the lines between those two types of people, in my opinion, in my perspective, from my experience, is very blurred. The difference between a hardcore gamer and a casual gamer, it's very, very blurred. A good player can be beaten by a bad player, not easily, but easier compared to other games. Call of Duty is twitchy and intuitive, aim assist is helpful, the time to kill is fast, and the map design and core mechanics of Call of Duty games always seem to cater towards either simplistic, easy to control engagements, or unpredictable areas of engagement. Things are complicated, and we also forget that we are individuals. People that, despite our skill level, can have bad games, bad play sessions, bad plays within our matches. We're so confident in ourselves, we're so confident in our skill that we don't think we need to learn, we don't think we need to improve. And we think that if the competition gets stark, there must be some sort of manipulation behind the scenes. How could all these different players be giving me such a hard time? Now, I don't want to get into the psychology of doubling down on your issue and looking for the problem instead of the solution. I don't want to get into the problem of passing the buck towards your enemies or the game or your teammates, because we're all guilty of it in some way or another. The hottest take of this video might be that the difference between Exclusive Ace and I is that he blames skill-based matchmaking, I blame my teammates, but I do think it's two sides of the same coin. I'm probably right, and he's probably right. But it takes the human nature out of the game. You're not fighting a stack of stats, you're fighting a person who is prone to mistakes. So are you. I guess that perspective is why skill-based matchmaking doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is my teammates' performance. I assume that my enemies are going to be trying to beat me, and that they're going to try to frustrate me no matter what. What perplexes me is when my team feels like it's trying to do the same thing to me. Ugh. And when it came to Exclusive Ace and Drifter's testing of skill-based matchmaking, I didn't agree with them. I understood what they were finding, and I agree that they found what they found, but I didn't really like their sample size, and it didn't line up with my experience after playing with my friends throughout the life cycle of Modern Warfare. I couldn't relate to their findings, even though sometimes my matches seemed to follow that pattern, other times they completely followed a different one, which is why I've nicknamed skill-based matchmaking babysitting matchmaking, because it always feels like it doesn't pair me up with people of my skill level, it makes me carry 4 or 3 really terrible players to victory against better players. At least that's how it feels to me. The unfortunate fact of it is that it's probably less like that than I think, but my head is sort of stuck there. I have the evidence, I have the footage, I have the ability to uncannily recreate those circumstances several times throughout a stream, to the point that even some of my viewers are perplexed as to how I get such bad teammates constantly. But then in the same lobby, such good and sweaty enemies. I never get that guy with the Damascus MP5 on my team. It's a damn shame. But even though I don't agree with Drifter and Ace's testing, I respect it, I see what they found, but I don't agree with it, and I think that it's way more variable than what they found, and I'm pretty sure they could probably say the same thing if they look at their data compared to other people's data if everyone was to gather data. I think it's very specific on region, and even NAT type should affect skill-based matchmaking in some way, because matchmaking manipulation would be affected by everything. Again, like, where do you live? What's your NAT type, you know? So even though I don't agree with it, I respect that they went out and looked for data. And they did have a sample size, and they did have a procedure along with what they were doing. The Call of Duty community, the pro players, the content creators, the streamers, hopping onto an alpha for less than 12 hours on a system that has a way more limited range of competitive FPS games. The two that are missing, of course, being Halo and Gears of War. If this was an Xbox-only alpha that was free for everybody, no Xbox Live Gold required, people that play only Halo or Gears of War might have hopped in, and maybe not played so well. PlayStation has fewer options. Most people are playing Call of Duty, Battlefield, maybe Titanfall, when it comes to competitive shooters. And you could maybe throw Destiny in there as well, but that starts to get a little bit distant from what we're talking about. And I'm not saying facts. Oh, because PlayStation doesn't have Gears of War and Halo, Call of Duty players are going to be better on that platform. Or the fact that the pro scene is on PlayStation 4. So a lot of kids that are interested in the pro scene would buy PlayStation 4s, right? Like, I don't want to get into that and say that these are the reasons people are having rough games. Making a definitive claim like that would be ridiculous, but it's a possibility. Just like skill-based matchmaking is a possibility, but there's lots of factors at play. When Scumpy tweets this, I don't think, well, he's right, there's skill-based matchmaking if he says so. I think this pro player, this COD champion, for one, should be able to deal with a random that he's paired up against, even if he has the same stats. He's not a pro player. I guarantee you he doesn't have the same playtime as Scump. He doesn't play for money like Scump. And while I understand that Scump might not want to have to play like he's on main stage when he hops into a match of TDM, I also think, dude, this is your job. You're supposed to be the best of the best. Why are you fucking whining? I don't know. It's not fair of me to say that I don't see them as consumers. I see them as pro players, but they are also consumers. They're also average fans of Call of Duty down at heart, and they do want to just enjoy grinding prestiges and going for nukes. They want to do that. They're not just pro players, but they have a lot of influence. And when they tweet things like this, they get everybody's confirmation bias revved up and ready to go. Every difficult match that I'm in is due to matchmaking manipulation behind the scenes, and it's unfair because that isn't fair to anyone. And they always say that, it's not fair to anyone, because even bad players can't improve. But you're not really worried about improving. And Scump, you would know that you can improve against people of your own skill level. I mean, when you were fighting people in Call of Duty on main stage for Call of Duty championships, you know, were you not improving because those guys were at your level of play? You weren't improving. You weren't getting better? You weren't challenging yourself? No, of course you were, and you know that. Nobody watches pro COD gameplay to see the developers roll a dice on a table and go, okay, well you have a 2 KD and you rolled a 5, so you do this many points of score in this match. No, it's not a dice roll based on your stats. It's not D&D, it's Call of Duty. It's your human decision making that comes into play. And I'm not defending skill-based matchmaking at all. I'm attacking the assumption that that's what it is. The automatic assumption that that's what it is. When I see this tweet, I think, Scump, are you kidding me? Are you hungry? Are you dehydrated? Are you not playing your best? This game doesn't show stats. This game does not show levels. You're going off the fact that what? They're besting you? It's Call of Duty. It's a game where level 10 can beat a Master Prestige 10. It's always been that way. That's the way of the franchise, is you die fast. It's easy to die in Call of Duty. Don't take it so goddamn personally. And people have adapted their playstyles. It's not just the pro players that know how to jump shot and drop shot. It's not just the pro players that slide with a shotgun. It's not just good pub stompers that know how to control the map. Can you imagine being a big competitive Call of Duty fan, running into your favorite pro player online, being nervous but wanting to show your stuff? You sit up, you take a drink of water, you lean forward, you get ready, right? You get in the headspace to compete. You're not playing anymore. You're not having a game, you're having a match, and it's important. And you best him over and over. Maybe you win the game, maybe you don't, but you give your favorite pro player a run for their money. You do things that are unpredictable. You do things you didn't know you were capable of. You did things outside of your comfort zone. Yeah, you might be a good pub player, but you're nowhere near the power of Scump. Imagine overcoming him through your ability as a person, as an individual, just for him to go on Twitter and blame skill-based matchmaking for the matchup in the first place. But of course, it's not one game that people are mad about. It's the consistency of how many times are you going to make me fight at this level? How many times am I going to have to pair up against people that are this bloody good at Call of Duty? And I say, yeah, fair enough. Again, see the intro of this video for my opinion on skill-based matchmaking. Again, I don't like skill-based matchmaking. I reject the premise that it ruins competition. I reject the premise that it makes games unplayable. I reject the assumption that that is why your matches are the way that they are. Self-assuredness is not attractive on anybody. Yes, skill-based matchmaking can suck shit. But if you're using your influence to shift the common consensus, if you're using your influence to stir up confirmation bias, in my opinion, I lose a lot of respect for you. What's nice about what Exclusive Ace and Drifter did is that they went out and they used scientific methods, and if any other YouTubers did as well, shout out to them. Anyone that helped them, shout out to them. Because it's an interesting topic, because it is a sort of phantom manipulation. We don't get to see it. We don't have a rank on our profile. We don't know why we're in the lobbies that we're in. We just know that there's something going on behind the scenes. But the problem is there's a level of psychological bullshit that goes along with this. Like, if you're going into a game to prove that if you have a good one, you'll have a bad one next, you're just more likely to find the problem and not a solution. The power of suggestion works on ourselves. If we go in to prove that it's right, because that's how we feel, it will be right. And that's unfortunate. Our own performance as players, as gamers, as Call of Duty players, as competitive people, our own performance can take a dip because our confidence is shaken before we're in the match. We think there's something treating us unjustly, unfairly. By the time we get in the game, we've already lost in our heads. We've already had a bad time. We're already lamenting the process. And then you'll convince yourself that it's an exterior things problem and not your own. So many of my bad teammate matches have evidence of bad teammates. But some of the matches I watch back, and this is hard for me to swallow, I think my team is playing very poorly. But then I look that I'm not doing the non-verbal communication. I'm not checking my minimap. I'm not watching my teammates back. I'm letting them die and then I'm going in and getting the kill. I'm using them as bait. But in my head, they're worse than me. And while more often than not, I'm right, I watch my own gameplay back, I can see the decisions they make, I can see what I'm trying to do and how it gets thwarted by teammates not helping, not being aggressive or assertive at all. But it's not all the time. We make mistakes in our assumptions, we make mistakes in our gameplay. Blaming skill-based matchmaking, using it as a scapegoat, passing the buck, we have to look at it as something that might not be the biggest issue. We'll never know exactly how it works because Activision's not going to release how the matchmaking works. Then it's open to manipulation. And you don't know if it goes after your KD over time, your score per minute, your last 5 matches, your last 5 play sessions. You don't know. And once you figure it out and you have all the evidence and you have a sample size of 100,000 people and you think you're dead on, what if they change it the next day because you made a video about it? And it's a little bit different. It uses a different set of criteria to get you into matches with people of your own skill level that you'll never be able to track. But maybe I'm overreacting to this. Maybe my thoughts about the individual in the match getting better regardless of stats, maybe the idea of the match being more important than the reason you got there, maybe my ideas are clouding one important thing. Perhaps these content creators are using their influence to create a mob mentality because the Call of Duty community is very easily influenced. Create a mob mentality to eventually get Treyarch or Activision, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer to speak out on what they know about skill-based matchmaking. And if all of this bellyaching, if all of this assuming, if all of this harassing of developers eventually comes down to Activision saying, we're removing skill-based matchmaking, it's only going to be ping-based from here on out, well, that's an amazing scenario that I would be all for. I just have a little trouble thinking that's what's going to happen. And I start to think that maybe their goal isn't to maybe out the subject and find a solution. I think a lot of it is that people are uncomfortable when they're very good with losing. I know this when I play Super Smash Bros. Against my girlfriend. She has not played Smash her whole life. I've played Smash against people my entire life, on and off, despite never really owning a title. I've played much more of it than she has. Also, I'm a boy. I'm naturally better at video games. So, when I start to lose in Smash, it frustrates me. Because I'm not just losing, it's how am I losing? How am I unable to land a hit? I can't parry, I can't dodge in time. And I get in my own head, and I frustrate myself. And then I make excuses. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm horny. Oh, I'm stupid. Oh, the TV's input lag thing was set wrong. Look away while I change the setting. It's this thing that rises up inside my chest that I have to just take a deep breath and go, okay, don't act like a man-child. Because when you know that you technically have the higher skill, it's hard when that human element comes in. That unpredictable element where somebody gets into a flow state. When somebody's just more on top of things than you are. Maybe they're just more hydrated than you. Who gives a shit? It's their moment. They're doing their best. And you should expect your adversaries to do their best. So on the one hand, I hate skill-based matchmaking. I want it to go away. I guess the reason it doesn't bother me is that I'm trying to get into the habit of assuming that I'm not as good as I think I am, and my enemies are going to try way harder than I do. Because for me personally, with that perspective, it's harder to find excuses. And by watching this gameplay, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, boom, you're terrible at FPS games. Why are you talking about this? I'm not good with the PlayStation controller and shooters, so I'm going to ask you to give me some motherfucking slack. I will see you when I see you. I love you guys. If you are against skill-based matchmaking, you think I'm full of shit, I totally respect you. Don't have to be an asshole in my comment section. And I hope we can get to the bottom of this once the game comes out, because crying SBMM this early, before we even had the alpha for 12 hours, you just look like a baby that wants easier lobbies. I mean, I know I do, but I don't have a shelf full of trophies, and you're not going to see me on Twitter whining about it. See you when I see you. And besides, easier enemies are overrated. I want better teammates.